Now we are going to see that for the case of calcite crystal, what is the optic axis? As we have said earlier, that optic axis is a direction inside the birefringent crystal such that O ray and E ray, they travel with the same speed along that direction. So that is called as optic axis of the crystal. Now the calcite crystal which we are talking about, this calcite crystal is a birefringent crystal. Birefringent means that the refractive index of the material or of the crystal, it depends upon the direction as well as the polarization state of the incident light. So now this calcite crystal, it is actually a calcium carbonate. It is made up of calcium carbonate and specifically hydrated calcium carbonate. So it is also called as Iceland spar, and this calcite crystal is rhombohedron on cleavage. So when you cut the calcite crystal, it is in rhombohedron shape. So rhombohedron means that the 6 faces of the rhombohedron, they are parallelogram. Now over here I have shown the rhombohedron shape of the calcite crystal, and you can see that all the 6 faces in this crystal, they are parallelogram. They are in the shape of a parallelogram. So 6 faces of the rhombohedron are parallelogram, each having angles 102 degrees and 78 degrees. So let's say if this angle, this acute angle is 78 degree, then the opposite angle, this angle, it will be 102 degree. So the rhombohedron shape of the calcite crystal has 6 faces which are in parallelogram shape, and each parallelogram has angles of 102 degrees and 78 degrees. Now the two opposite corners of this calcite crystal, so two opposite corners, this corner as well as this corner, so these two corners, you can see that at these two corners all the angles which are made, so at these, first of all let's say this corner, so at this corner the angles which are made, there will be 3 angles because there are 3 planes which are touching this corner. So there are 3 planes, so there will be 3 angles which are formed at this corner, and all these 3 angles are obtuse. And similar the thing happens at this opposite corner, that all the angles which are made at this corner are obtuse. So these two corners, they are called as the blunt corners of the crystal. So at the two opposite corners such as A and B, the 3 angles of the faces which are touching, there are 3 faces, so there will be 3 angles. So 3 angles of the faces meeting there are obtuse, and these corners are called as blunt corners. And at each of the remaining corners, at all the corners, one angle will be obtuse and other 2 angles will be acute. So only at these 2 corners A and B, all the 3 angles formed will be obtuse, and these are called as blunt corners. Now a line which is equally inclined to the 3 edges meeting at one of the blunt corners. So let's say if you're talking about this point A. So at this corner there are 3 edges. One is this edge, then is this dotted edge, and then is this edge. So there are 3 edges. Now if I draw a line from this blunt corner, such that it is equally inclined with all these 3 edges, the line which I will draw should be equally inclined with all these 3 edges which are touching this blunt corner. So that line which I will draw, that will give me the direction of the optic axis in the case of calcite crystal. So a line which is equally inclined to the 3 edges meeting at one of the blunt corners. So you can either take this corner or you can take this blunt corner, and you will draw a line such that that line will make equal angle with all the 3 edges which are meeting at this blunt corner. So that will give us the direction of the optic axis. So a line equally inclined to the 3 edges meeting at one of the blunt corners, or any other line which is parallel to it. So if I draw a line from this blunt corner such that it is equally inclined with all these 3 edges, or any line which is parallel to that particular line which I will draw, that will give me the optic axis. So that is the direction of the optic axis. As we have said that optic axis is not a single line in the crystal, it is a direction. Any line parallel to optic axis will also work as the optic axis. So optic axis, this is the direction such that crystal is symmetrical about it. So crystal is always symmetrical about the optic axis. So now we are going to see what is the principal section in a calcite crystal. So principal section is actually a plane. Any plane which contains the optic axis, as we have said that let's say if this is the blunt corner, capital A is the blunt corner, then we will draw a line such that it passes through this blunt corner as well as it is equally inclined, means it makes equal angles with all the three edges which are touching this blunt corner. So that will give me the optic axis. Now if I will draw a plane that contains the optic axis, now I will draw a plane inside this crystal and it will contain the optic axis and it should be perpendicular to the two opposite faces of the crystal. So let's say if I take this face of the crystal, the face which is at the top and the face which is at the bottom. So let's say for time being I am just talking about these two faces, one at the top and another one at the bottom. Now I will draw a plane such that the plane is perpendicular to these two opposite faces as well as it contains the optic axis. This plane will contain the optic axis as well as it will be perpendicular to the two opposite faces which I am taking. So that plane will be the principal section of the crystal. So any plane that contains the optic axis and perpendicular to the two opposite faces of the crystal is called as principal section of that crystal for those two faces. So this, let's say this face which I have drawn, this plane which I have drawn, this plane which I have drawn, this A, small a, capital B and small b, this plane which I have drawn, this is the principal section for these two faces. For these two faces means one at the top and another one at the bottom. So A, B, B is the principal section for the top and bottom faces of the calcite crystal. And if I want to take into account the principal section for other two opposite faces. So let's say one face at the left and another one face at the right hand side. So the plane will be different. And similarly, I can draw the principal section for the face which is at the front and for the face which is at the back. So that will give me the another principal section. So at any point inside the crystal, for every point inside the crystal, there are three principal sections. So we can draw three principal sections for any point inside the crystal. And those three principal sections will be for each pair of opposite faces. So one principal section will be drawn for this face at the left and at the right, for this pair of faces. Then the second principal section can be drawn for the two opposite faces, one at the top and another one at the bottom. And similarly, the last and the third principal section can be drawn for the face which is at the front and at the back. So at any point inside the crystal, I will get three principal sections, one for each pair of opposite faces. So there are 6 faces, therefore I will have 3 pairs of opposite faces, therefore I will have 3 principal sections for every point inside the crystal. So this principal section which I have drawn over here, this is the principal section for the face which is at the top and at the bottom. So for calcite crystal, the principal section which we will get, principal section for the case of calcite crystal is always a parallelogram. And as I have shown over here, this will make a parallelogram. So principal section for the case of calcite crystal is always a parallelogram, and the angles which are made in this parallelogram are 71 degrees and 109 degrees. So angles which will be made in this parallelogram will be 71 degrees and 109 degrees. So this is the principal section of the calcite crystal. Now, whenever you will draw a calcite crystal, and we will see that the Nicol prism is made up from the calcite crystal. So whenever we will draw the diagram of the Nicol prism, generally we always draw the principal section. we always draw the principal section and we never draw the whole crystal. So we never draw the whole crystal, we always draw only the principal section of the crystal. As I have shown over here, I have drawn only the principal section of the crystal, and this angle, this acute angle will be 71 degrees. This will be 71 degrees and other angle will be 109 degrees. So we will always draw the principal section. And when we will make the unpolarized light to fall on this crystal, when we will make the unpolarized light to fall on this crystal, you will see that there will be double refraction. So the light, incident light, it will split into two refracted beams. So the one which is at the top, this beam, it will have its vibrations of electric field in the plane of the principal section. The vibrations of the electric field for this ray will be in the plane of the principal section. So this is the principal section, and the vibrations of this ray, they are in the plane of the principal section, whereas the other ray will have its vibrations perpendicular to the principal section. So when they will emerge out, these two rays, when they will emerge out, they will be parallel to each other because the opposite faces of the calcite crystal, they are parallel to each other. Therefore, the light rays which will emerge out, they will always be parallel. And this ray which is at the top, or you can say the ray which has its vibrations in the plane of the principal section, is called as E ray or extraordinary ray, and the other ray which has its vibrations of electric field perpendicular to the principal section is called as O ray. So since the opposite faces of the calcite crystal, they are parallel, the opposite faces of the calcite crystal, they are parallel to each other, therefore the O ray and E ray, they emerge out as parallel rays to each other and also parallel to the incident ray. So they will be parallel to each other as well as they will be parallel to the incident ray. Now O ray is plane polarized as well as E ray is also plane polarized, and O ray will have its vibrations perpendicular to the vibrations, or you can say E vibrations or vibrations of electric field, they are perpendicular to the principal section of the crystal. Whereas E ray will have its vibrations in the plane of principal section of the crystal. As we have said that the Nicol prism is made up from the calcite crystal, and calcite is a birefringent material. So whenever any ray, any unpolarized light, it falls on the calcite crystal, it gets split into two refracted rays. So similar thing will also happen in the Nicol prism, because Nicol prism is also made up from the calcite crystal, which is a birefringent material. So now in Nicol prism, this Nicol prism is used to polarize the light. Nicol prism is used to polarize the light. Now how Nicol prism will polarize the light? As we have said that when an unpolarized light, it falls on the calcite crystal, it will get split into two rays. One will have its vibrations in the plane of the principal section and another one will have its vibrations perpendicular to the principal section of the crystal. So now in Nicol prism, we use a technique such that one of the two refracted rays is absorbed and only one ray is made to pass, or you can say is made to transmit through the Nicol prism. So the two rays which are formed in the calcite crystal due to double refraction, so one ray is absorbed and another ray is made to transmit or is made to pass through the crystal as it is. So at this end, on the right hand side, we will only get one ray. So this technique we use in Nicol prism. We absorb one of the two rays, one of the two refracted rays, and we make only one ray to pass through the crystal so that we get only one polarization state out of the crystal. So Nicol prism is an optical device which is fabricated from calcite crystal. It is made up from the calcite crystal for producing and analyzing the plane polarized light. So Nicol prism, as I have already said, that Nicol prism is used to polarize the light. But we will see that Nicol prism can also be used to analyze the state of polarization of the light. Now, Nicol prism is named after its inventor, William Nicol, who invented it in 1820. Now, the principle of Nicol prism is double refraction. The action of the Nicol prism is based on the phenomenon of double refraction. Now, calcite crystal is a birefringent material. Therefore, the incident light, it will split into two reflected rays. So, in the case of Nicol prism also, we will have double refraction. Now, Nicol prism is constructed in such a way that O ray is eliminated. In the case of Nicol prism, we eliminate the ordinary ray. As I said, that one of the two refracted rays is absorbed and only one ray is made to pass through the crystal. So, in the case of Nicol prism, the O ray, ordinary ray, is eliminated. And how it is eliminated? It is eliminated by total internal reflection. Total internal reflection. So what is total internal reflection? Let's say if you have any denser medium over here and you make a light ray to fall on a rarer medium. So this is the rarer medium at the top and this is a denser medium. Now the incident light is passing through the denser medium towards the rarer medium. So when this angle of incidence is greater than critical angle, when the angle of incidence inside the denser medium is greater than critical angle, then this ray, it will not go to the rarer medium, but in fact it will get reflected completely. So there will be total internal reflection. And what are the two conditions for total internal reflection? Firstly, the first condition is that the light must go from denser to rarer medium. So this is the first condition. And second is that the angle of incidence at the denser medium, angle of incidence, it must be greater than a certain angle which is called as critical angle. Only then the incident light will get reflected completely. So these are the two conditions that must be satisfied for the case of O ray. Only then the O ray will be eliminated. So we get only plain polarized E ray coming out of the Nicol prism. So only E ray will pass through the crystal and we will observe only this E ray outside the crystal. So over here I have shown a calcite crystal which is a rhombohedron in shape. So there are 6 faces and this section which I have shown over here, this is the principal section, the one which I have shown by black color. This parallelogram, this is the principal section of the calcite crystal. Now we will see that how Nicol prism is constructed and what is its working, that how by total internal reflection O ray gets eliminated. Then we will see how Nicol prism, it acts as polarizer as well as analyzer. So for the construction of the Nicol prism, firstly we have a calcite crystal. We take a calcite crystal and we know this is the principal section of the calcite crystal for this face as well as for this opposite faces. So A, B, C, D, this is the principal section for this face as well as this face. Now what we do is, to construct Nicol prism, we cut this calcite crystal in such a way that, so we cut the calcite crystal in such a way, we cut it by a plane such that that plane is 90 degree. The plane by which we will cut this calcite crystal will be perpendicular to the principal section first of all. The plane by which we will cut this calcite crystal should be perpendicular to the principal section of the calcite crystal as well as it must be perpendicular to these two opposite faces. So we will cut this calcite crystal by a plane such that the plane is perpendicular to the principal section as well as it is perpendicular to these two opposite faces of the crystal. So over here I have shown only this parallelogram which is the principal section of the calcite crystal, and we cut the crystal along a plane such that it makes 90 degree with the principal section of the crystal as well as it makes 90 degree with these two faces. So it makes 90 degree over here and it makes 90 degree over here. Then when we will cut this crystal by a plane, Then we again cement together the two portions of the crystal. So when we will cut this principal section by a plane, we will get two portions of the crystal. We again cement together those two opposite portions. We will again cement together, but now we will attach these two portions of the crystal by applying a layer of a transparent material which is called as Canada balsam. So now we will coat Canada balsam on these two faces of the two portions, and then again we will attach those two portions of the crystal. So this Canada balsam layer is applied for a purpose, and we will see what is the purpose of this Canada balsam, and because of only this layer total internal reflection will occur. So firstly what we do is we take a calcite crystal, and this ABCD is the principal section of the calcite crystal. Now we will cut this calcite crystal along a plane such that the plane is perpendicular to the principal section as well as it is perpendicular to the two opposite faces. Then we again attach those two portions of the crystal by applying a thin layer of Canada balsam, and that will be called as the Nicol prism. And one more condition is that the length of the Nicol prism, it must be the length which is taken of the calcite crystal, it must be almost 3 times as that of its breadth. So there are two conditions. One is that we use a Canada balsam layer by cutting this crystal into two portions and then again cementing together. And second condition is that the length which is taken, the length of the calcite crystal which is taken is 3 times as that of its width. So for the construction of Nicol prism, a rhombohedron shape of the calcite crystal with length AD 3 times as long as its breadth CD is obtained by cleavage from the original crystal. So first of all, what we do is we take a calcite crystal and we obtain a rhombohedron shape of the calcite crystal such that its length is 3 times as long as its width. Now the end faces, they are grounded. Now another condition in the Nicol prism is that the end faces, they are grounded. Grounded means the angle is changed by a small amount. So over here we have taken this as the principal section. Earlier this ABCD was the principal section. So what we do is we ground it from here. We decrease the angle by polishing. We grind this face as well as this face of the crystal, and we decrease the angle from 71 degree. Earlier this angle was 71 degree. So we reduce this angle from 71 degree to 68 degree. So we grind these two opposite faces and we polish them. So we make them optically flat by polishing. So we decrease this acute angle from 71 degrees to 68 degrees, and this is also done because of a purpose, and this decrease in the angle, the purpose why we decrease this angle is because we want to obtain the total internal reflection of the ordinary ray. So firstly we use a Canada balsam layer, and then what we do is the other condition is that we grind these two opposite faces so that to reduce this acute angle from 71 degrees to 68 degrees. So under these conditions the O ray will be getting totally reflected inside the Nicol prism. So the end faces, they are grounded. We grind the end faces of the crystal until they make an angle of 68 degree instead of 71 degrees in the natural crystal. So in the natural crystal, the principal section of the crystal has acute angle 71 degrees, but we grind the two end faces of the crystal so as to reduce this 71 degrees to 68 degrees. And then we cut the crystal. Then the crystal is cut along a plane. As we have already said, we cut the crystal into two portions along a plane which is perpendicular to the principal section as well as to the new end surfaces. So over here you have to keep in mind that firstly what we do is we decrease the angle by grinding and polishing. We decrease the angle by grinding and polishing of the two end faces, and then we cut the crystal along a plane which is perpendicular to the principal section as well as to the new end surfaces AB and CD. So the new end faces we have to take into account that the plane which cuts must be perpendicular to the principal section as well as must be perpendicular to the new end surfaces. So as I already said over here, that we cut this crystal along a plane such that it is perpendicular to the principal section itself and it is perpendicular to the new end faces. So these are the new end faces after grinding and polishing. So this will make up the Nicol prism. So the crystal is cut along a plane which is perpendicular to principal section as well as to the new end surfaces. Now these two parts of the crystal, they are grounded and polished. The two portions of the crystal that we will get, we grind them and polish them and make them optically flat, and again we cement together. The two portions of the crystal that we get, we again cement together them with a layer of Canada balsam. Now this Canada balsam is a clear transparent material and it is not a birefringent material. So only the calcite is a birefringent material over here. This Canada balsam is not a birefringent material. It is a clear transparent material whose refractive index is equal to 1.55. The refractive index of Canada balsam is 1.55 and it lies between the refractive index for calcite, for O ray and E ray. So for ordinary ray, the refractive index inside the calcite. For O ray, the refractive index is equal to 1.66 and for extraordinary ray the refractive index is 1.48. As I already said that calcite is a birefringent material, so its refractive index depends upon the polarization state. Now O ray has its polarization perpendicular to the principal section, E ray has its polarization in the plane of the principal section, so they both will have different refractive index inside the same material. So the refractive index of the O ray is 1.66 and for E ray it is 1.48, and for Canada balsam the refractive index is 1.55, and these all refractive index are taken into account for the case of sodium yellow light. Sodium yellow light. So as you will change the wavelength of the incident light, the refractive index will also change. So these values which I have written over here, these are for when you are making the yellow light of the sodium to fall on the calcite crystal. So for the Canada balsam, the refractive index will be 1.55. For ordinary ray inside the calcite crystal, ordinary ray of the sodium yellow light, ordinary ray of sodium yellow light inside the calcite crystal, we have its refractive index 1.66 and E ray will have its refractive index 1.48. So this is for lambda is equal to 5893 Armstrong, which is sodium yellow light. And the Canada balsam, this material, it has its refractive index that lies between the refractive index of these two rays, and because of only this reason the total internal reflection will occur, and the working of the Nicol prism will be discussed in the next lecture.